tonight on First at 9 this Thursday the 18th of September 2025. Appropriation Bill. Government gazettes the appropriation bill for the 2026 budget. Government expenditure projected at 4.43 trillion rupees. Power protest. CEB trade unions vow to launch a major trade union action from September 21st if the government does not provide a positive response to their demands. Serve or depart. Transport Minister Bimal Ratnayaka warns railway officials to provide a passenger-friendly service or else resign. Asset issues. Minister Vasantha Samarasinghe responds to allegations of discrepancies in his asset declaration.
Kalin baby so rupiyal 90කට. Kalin baby podi හැමෝටමයි.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, you're joining First at 9, brought to you by Sri Lanka's premium news provider, Derana. I'm Tharindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. In your top story this evening, the protest action by Ceylon Electricity Board trade unions against the restructuring of the national power supplier continued today, with unions warning of a significant strike action from September 21st if the government does not provide a positive response to their demands. In the meantime, public consultations on the proposed electricity tariff revision for the final quarter of this year began today. The CEB has proposed a 6.8% tariff increase. Employees of the Ceylon Electricity Board staged a protest in front of the CEB headquarters yesterday after reporting sick leave. This protest marks the second phase of the industrial action, which began with a Work to Rule campaign on September 4th based on 24 demands, including the systematic restructuring of the Ceylon Electricity Board. The protest continued today, causing traffic congestion in the vicinity of the CEB headquarters. The CEB National Workers Association stated that if the government does not provide a positive response to their demands, all trade unions will jointly launch a significant trade union action from September 21st. Meanwhile, several political figures commented on the ongoing electricity protests.
This is a fateful joke and a catastrophe for both CEB workers and the President. In 2002, the partitioning of the Ceylon Electricity Board was proposed by then Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Since then, the JVP fought to maintain the CEB as a state-owned entity, even collecting 200 rupees per month from its members. In 2015, they pressured then President Maithripala Sirisena to recruit 6,000 manpower workers to the CEB. Those same employees are now complaining that the JVP appropriated 5,000 rupees from their salaries. Before Anura Dissanayake and his government threatens CEB employees, they must apologize to the nation and give back the money they took from the CEB employees for their trade unions. Only then can they think of serving justice to these employees. The insensitive president and his cabinet are attempting to implement this process by force. A major crisis concerning the maintenance of the country's electricity system will arise due to trade union action and disappointed employees resigning and going abroad. We plead to all CEB employees, do not choose the option of resignation. This government is temporary. If you are being mistreated by this government, we will correct that in the future. A year ago, when Kanchana Wijesekara was the Minister of Energy, he planned to split the Ceylon Electricity Board into 12 entities and privatize it. The bill which was passed was about to be implemented in October. What did we do? We split it into 4 entities instead of 12 and maintained all 4 of them as state entities.
Meanwhile, the Public Utilities Commission announced that public consultation on the proposed electricity tariff revision for the last quarter of this year will begin today. The Ceylon Electricity Board has proposed a 6.8% increase in electricity tariffs. Public consultations will begin in the Eastern Province, with public opinions being gathered at district secretariats. Consultations will be held in all provinces. The Public Utilities Commission also stated that the public can submit written comments and suggestions on the proposed tariff revision until October 7th. In the meantime, the Soba Danavi 350 megawatt combined cycle power plant in Kerawalapitiya was connected to the national grid yesterday. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya and Minister of Energy Kumara Jayakodi ceremonially connected the plant to the national grid.
You are
aware that Sri Lanka has one of the highest electricity tariff rates in the region. This unbearable cost of energy is one of the main obstacles to recovering from the severe economic crisis caused by decades of mismanagement. Our government is is focusing on new energy sectors, particularly solar and wind power, in order to reduce high electricity costs. To make Sri Lanka a country with the lowest electricity tariff rates in the region, the government is implementing procurement and tender processes and shifting from petroleum-based electricity generation towards renewable sources such as solar and wind.
රජය කටයුතු කරමින් යනවා.
ඔයාගේ හීන ලන්තයට අපිත් එක්ක යන්න අදම සනස ලයිෆ් එක ඉන්ෂුවර් වෙන්න.
Transport Minister Bimal Ratnayaka warned officials of the Railway Department to provide a passenger-friendly service or else resign from their positions immediately. The statement was made during the Kalutara District Special Coordinating Committee meeting at the Kalutara District Secretariat last afternoon.
Windows of trains cannot be closed. If we close the windows, the temperature inside the cabins rises and none of the fans are working. Since March, I have been asking officials to fix these fans. I even informed the head of the mechanical department, Nishanta, about this personally. The washrooms do not have any water supply. You are transporting office crowds. Can't proper arrangements be made for them? Who is the head of the department? Inform the head of the mechanical department and ensure these fans are repaired immediately. I have stated that we will get fans with a warranty. There appears to be a group within this department that lacks any empathy towards passengers. Water enters the cabins when it rains and the windows cannot be operated. Even if the windows worked, the cabin would still overheat because the fans are non-functional. The washrooms are not functioning properly. The overall conditions resemble a prison. It is your responsibility to address this. I acknowledge that mistakes were made by the previous government, such as not recruiting sufficient employees. We are rectifying those issues. The Railway Department, however, has shown little to no progress. The funds allocated to you are being redirected to other ministries because they are not being properly utilized. Despite allocating 3.5 billion rupees to the Railway Department, these issues remain unresolved. The railway tracks on the Kalaniya Black Bridge are damaged, and for the past 3 years, 2 trains could not cross the bridge simultaneously. They had to stop and wait. This bridge is 125 years old. The previous government also allocated funds for its repair, yet even procurement has not been completed. I asked the RDA to take over and the work is now nearly complete. Please assess the current condition of the trains yourselves. A 4-year-old child recently had 2 fingers crushed because a window that was not working properly fell on her. We are accountable to the passengers and their families. There should be a limit in apologizing to people. Are there no senior officials in the Railway Department who actually use the trains? Within a month, some form of servicing must be carried out on these trains. I expect a report on 3 days detailing what actions will be taken. Contact me personally and provide updates. Take this matter seriously. Otherwise, resign. The President has stated that if service cannot be provided, officials must step down. There will be no further chances.
අන්තිම warning දෙන්න. තිත්තල තියෙන්නේ අතට. මතකයිනේ? No chance.
The appropriation bill outlining government expenditure for the 2026 financial year has been gazetted. Accordingly, total government expenditure for the coming year is projected at 4.43 trillion rupees.
According to the appropriation bill, which the National People's Power government is scheduled to present to the Parliament as its second budget, total government expenditure for 2026 is projected at 4.43 trillion rupees. The largest allocation for the Ministry of Finance, which has been allocated 634 billion rupees. The Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government is allocated 618 billion rupees, while the Ministry of Public Administration is to receive 596 billion rupees. The Ministry of Health and Mass Media has been allocated 554 billion rupees for the upcoming year. The Ministry of Defence is allocated 455 billion rupees and the Ministry of Education will receive 301 billion rupees. The President's expenditure head in the 2026 budget is set at 11 billion rupees, an increase of approximately 8 billion rupees compared to the 2.7 billion rupees allocated in 2025. This increase is primarily due to the allocation of 8.29 billion rupees for development programs. Additionally, 488 billion rupees have been allocated for pensions in the 2026 appropriation bill. The maximum limit for domestic and foreign loans to cover expenses in 2026 has been set at 3.8 trillion rupees, which must not be exceeded. The government has decided to present the 2026 budget to Parliament on September 26th. The second reading of the appropriation bill is scheduled for November 7th, while the final vote for the budget is set for December 5th.
හොඳම ෆෝන් එකක් ගන්න. ළඟම බාන්ස් එකට යන්න.
Minister Vasantha Samarasinghe states that his party nor its supporters have any issues regarding the personal assets of its leaders. The minister made this claim while responding to the recent public discourse surrounding his assets and liabilities.
Minister of Trade, Commerce, Food Security and Cooperative Development Wasantha Samarasinghe has come under fire on social media over his considerable private assets, which are said to have been detailed in his declaration of assets and liabilities submitted to the Bribery Commission. Accordingly, Samarasinghe possesses over 275 million rupees worth of commercial buildings, solar power systems, vehicles, gold and savings accounts. The Bribery Commission has been requested to investigate how Minister Wasantha Samarasinghe amassed his assets. Against this backdrop, the minister commented on the developments in Anuradhapura today.
These assets did not materialize out of thin air. I submitted the details to be published in the Declaration of Assets and Liabilities. This has become a big deal to those who conceal their assets. I have submitted these documents before assuming duties as a minister as well as before contesting the 2024 elections. Our family has been in business in Tamutegamba. We have revealed information about our assets.
ඒකයි අපි පෞද්ගලිකව අපේ ආර්ථිකයක් අපේ මේ ආර්ථිකයක් ගොඩනැගෙන එක පිළිබඳවයි කිසිම ගැටුමක් පක්ෂයටවත් අපේ සමාජිකයන්ටවත් අපේ පාක්ෂිකයන්ටවත් නැහැ. මොනකටද චෝදනා ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ? අපිම නෙදුන්නේ.
What am I accused of when I myself submitted the details? These are not assets that were found after being hidden away. We can definitely explain how these assets were generated, and that is why we have submitted them. The market value of plot of land in Tamutegama is high. Before attending university, I conducted tuition classes in Tamutegama. Our family owns a 40 to 45 perch plot of land there. We have submitted the market value of the plot of land. A business has been set up at the family residence. We submitted the market value of that as well. The two plots of land alone are worth around 225 million rupees. A hotel on a 20 perch plot of land neighboring the building where my class was held is to be sold. I thought the value of my property should have been doubled by now.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa asserts that the government has not implemented any measures to resolve the human-elephant conflict despite holding office for a year. This was stated during a meeting with the farming community of Villachia today.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa arrived in Villachia today to meet with the farmers of the area and discuss their concerns.
I was informed that the harvest from your cultivation is piled up at home due to the inability to sell it. Farmers have not been compensated for crop damages. However, before coming into power, the government stated that the concerns of the public will be resolved within a single pen stroke. It has been a year since the presidential elections were held. What measures were taken to resolve the human-elephant conflict? Where are the electric fences they promised to set up? Have they compensated the people for the damages to their houses? Did any ministers arrive? Nobody has come. We will raise our voices for the sake of the farming community and press the government to resolve their issues.
Leader of the Pivituru Helaurume, Uday Gammampila, asserts that the government is attempting to apprehend him on charges under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights Act after 5 unsuccessful attempts. Convening a press conference in Colombo today, Gammampila added that he has filed a case against the government for the misuse of the ICC PR Act.
While I was abroad for research, the CID informed the court that an investigation has been launched against me under the ICC PR Act. The ICC PR Act is a major tool abused by governments across the world to repress opponents. As I have already filed a case against the government's misuse of the ICC PR Act aimed at silencing me, I do not wish to further comment on this matter. The NPP government has made 6 attempts to apprehend me within the span of 10 months. The government has realized that they can never frame me for corruption or misuse of authority, so they are trying to arrest me on baseless accusations. Accordingly, the government has ordered literator Shania Besekara to construct a case against me. That is the rumour the government circulated while I was away. The NPP's mouthpieces have carried out a massive campaign to publicise that. No, the police has informed the court that I will not be apprehended on arrival. They have stated that my arrest will be determined by Chief Inspector Ilanga Singha based on the statement I provide. There is that risk. I could have stayed abroad without returning to the country if what the government publicised was true.
Inaugurating the construction of the Labunoruwakanda International Buddhist Center in Anuradhapura, a sacred sapling from the ancient Jayasri Mahabodhi was planted, while the foundation stone of the proposed Dasabala Mahasaya was also laid today. The ceremony, which was presided over by the Deputy Chief Prelates of the tri-chapters and Buddhist clergy, also saw the attendance of several political figures.
The construction of the Labunoruwakanda International Buddhist Center in Muriya Kadawala, Anuradhapura commenced today with the foundation stone being laid for the proposed Dasabala Mahasaya. The ceremony was presided over by the Deputy Chief Prelates of the tri-chapters and the Buddhist clergy. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and the leader of Sarvajana Balaya, parliamentarian Dilip Jayawira, were also in attendance. A sacred sapling from the ancient Jayasri Mahabodhi in Anuradhapura was also planted at the temple premises. Subsequently, the leader of Sarvajana Balaya, parliamentarian Dilip Jayawira, unveiled a Buddha statue moulded at the premises. Meanwhile, the leader of Sarvajana Balaya, MP Dilip Jayawira, arrived at the sacred city of Anuradhapura this morning to receive blessings on his birthday. The parliamentarian paid homage to the Jayasri Mahabodhi and the Ruwanwali Mahasaya.
The Arthur C. Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies in Moratuwa announced that Sri Lanka's third satellite, named Birds X Dragonfly, is scheduled to be launched into orbit tomorrow from the International Space Station. On August 24th this year, the satellite was carried to the International Space Station aboard the SpaceX 33 rocket launched by NASA and is set to be launched tomorrow at 2:15 p.m. local time. Previously, Sri Lanka launched its first nano satellite named Ravana-1 in 2019, and the second satellite, Kitsune, was launched in 2022 as part of a multinational technological collaboration involving 5 international partners. The nano satellite will carry out 3 primary space research missions, including testing a new low-cost communication subsystem for nanosatellites, provide a satellite-based platform to relay automatic packet receiving system messages, and store and forward communication. Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijitha Herath, along with the Minister of Industries Sunil Handunnethi and Minister of Trade Vasantha Samarasinghe, launched an integrated mechanism to enhance collaboration between Sri Lanka's overseas missions and national institutions. At a session held on September 16th, Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath underscored the responsibility of missions in identifying new markets, attracting sustainable foreign investment and enhancing export performance. Minister Handunnethi, speaking on industry perspective, emphasized the importance of value addition in Sri Lanka's manufacturing sector. Minister Samarasinghe highlighted the importance of Sri Lanka focusing on advancing export development in light of the current global economic conditions. The session was attended by all heads of missions and comprehensive presentations were delivered by the chairman of the Board of Investment and Export Development Board to the missions, highlighting the country's economic performance through detailed facts and figures. Welcome back. Chief Advisor to the President on Digital Economy, Dr. Hans Vijayasuriya, urged local and foreign investors not to miss out on the valuable investment opportunities in the $15 billion digital economy that the country is expected to achieve over the next 4 years. He made these remarks while participating in a conference held in Colombo today.
The main conference of Disrupt Asia 2025, Sri Lanka's premier startup conference and innovation festival, was held today in Colombo under the patronage of President Anura Dissanayake.
Sri Lankan history demonstrates that we have significantly failed and we have hurdles in turning innovation into economic opportunity. Also, we have failed to align our academic research with the global demands as well as commercializing those research into the product economy. And also, most importantly, policy bottlenecks that discourage risk-taking as well as getting the right investments coming into the country. Investors can come and potentially look at Sri Lanka as their next best destination for investments. As the government, we will be the enabler. We will remove red tapes. We will create the right incentives, bringing investor-friendly policy reforms, and also building the right infrastructure that lowers the cost of innovation. We will act as the catalyst to unlock private capital by establishing a startup fund that attracts both foreign and domestic investments coming into this sector. We'll formally launch as early as January 2026.
Combination of solid foundations and a way forward which is based on the best practice of digital transformation, we aim for a 5x growth in the digital economy, translating to a digital value creation of over $15 billion over the next 4 years. Sri Lanka's digital ambitions are enshrined in targets: a 5 times growth in digital economy, as I mentioned, a 3x growth in digital exports, doubling of our digital talent base, and a 25-point improvement across a multitude of digital benchmarks. And this commitment does not stop with targets. It translates into policy innovations which are built on solid foundation. And I'll ask you, ladies and gentlemen, who is going to capture this 15 billion over opportunity? Someone will capture it, because the government of Sri Lanka will make this happen.
Afterwards, President Dissanayake visited the startup showcase.
The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority joined GovPay, the government's digital payment platform. The groundbreaking initiative to modernize the country's tourism industry was taken yesterday. Issuing a statement, the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority says that the move allows tourism industry operators across the country to pay the tourism development levy, including underpayments, defaults and late payments seamlessly through their bank's internet and mobile banking portals or any fintech app connected to GovPay. The Tourism Authority says that by embracing GovPay, SLTDA aims to streamline processes and create a more transparent and efficient business environment, further supporting the government's vision of positioning Sri Lanka as a world-class tourist destination powered by digital innovation. The Colombo bourse closed in positive territory today as a result of price gains in counters such as Nations Trust Bank, DFCC Bank and John Keel's Holdings. The benchmark ASPI gained 0.91% to close at 20,965.26, while the more liquid S&P Sri Lanka 20 increased by 1.16% to end the day at 5,971.30. Market turnover was 6.8 billion rupees. Diversified financial sector was the highest contributor to market turnover, followed by the banking sector. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net sellers, offloading shares worth 606 million rupees. And with that, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rates for the day. That's all for tonight from First at 9. Thank you for joining. Have a great night.